Good morning, everybody. My name is Karen, and we are live in the Texas Wetlands exhibit at Houston Zoo. We'll get started in just a moment. We're going to take a tour through the wetland. So this wetlands is really special. It's a special exhibit here at the zoo because we constructed this to be a functioning ecosystem. So this is a special day too, because 1 year ago today we filled this with water and started planting. So we added maybe 30 different kinds of native plants to this exhibit. And again, just filled it with water, and then Mother Nature did the rest. It's amazing how many creatures have come to call this wetlands home already in just a short time. We probably have, as I said, maybe 30 some odd species of plants, but so far we've counted upwards of 150 different species of animal that have come to call this home. That's, as far as the species count goes, about 75% of the animals here are just wild. So very, very cool and very successful so far. We've got all sorts of critters that visit this wetlands, including black-bellied whistling ducks, which you can see on the shore over there. They are a tropical duck. They're a tree duck. Their range has really expanded northwards for the last few decades, which is really neat. So we have a lot of them here because they love to go to the flamingo exhibit and eat, and then they come over here, I think, to hang out in between feeding. So they're really neat little ducks, so it's nice to have them here. So as I said, this is a functioning wetland. So we have plants, we have algae, we have invertebrates underwater. We added some species of fish too. We have 5 species of native fish, all of which were quarantined by our awesome aquarium staff. We've got dollar sunfish, pygmy sunfish, 2 species of top minnow, black spotted and golden, and then also a least killifish. And those are the fish we've added so far. So again, since we are building a functioning ecosystem and a food web, we have to start slow. So we are just adding smaller fish and then having them populate, which they did all last summer. So we have a ton of little ones. And oh, hey, hi to Falcon Pass Elementary. Hope you guys are having a good morning and enjoying watching this. So we are this year hopefully adding some larger animals like turtles and maybe a couple of larger species of fish too. And then we're gonna have an alligator gar in here as well. It's gonna be awesome. Let's see, Mary asked what kind of animals live in here. So again, fish, all sorts of wild birds come in to enjoy the wetlands. And we have some cool invertebrates. I actually have a bottle of neat little invertebrates called Amphipods. I don't know if you can see them there. They're kind of crawling around the bottom. They're like little tiny shrimp. The word amphipod is Greek for different foot. So the legs that they have are all kind of different for different activities that they do. These guys love to eat algae. They break down leaves. They're great fish food. So these are part of the basis of the food web, along with the plants and the algae. Without these guys, fish just couldn't live. So we have to have the smaller animals in abundance for fish to be able to live happily in here too. So we're actually gonna let these go. If you want to look them up, Amphipods is the correct spelling. These are kind of similar to roly-polies, which are called isopods. These guys are flattened side to side roly-polies. I'm sure all you guys are familiar with those, but they're all types of arthropods. So let's see, this looks like an awesome place. Check out all these plants. These plants create an amazing variety of different places to live and hide. So we're gonna add these guys right here, and they can live happily ever after and maybe eat some of our algae and leaf litter. So very cool. Good luck, guys. So John is asking if the ducks here are endangered. No, tree duck or the black-bellied whistling ducks are not endangered. They are quite numerous here, but you know what? If you go too much farther north, you probably won't see them. So I think they're pretty special as far as ducks that you can see here. They're just beautiful. I love their red beaks and they have really quirky little personalities, so they're very fun to watch. Bishop is asking, why is the water green? Well, the water is green because of algae. Algae is an absolute must for a diverse freshwater ecosystem. In fact, algae gets a bad rap because the only time people really talk about algae is when it's you know, a bad situation like an algal bloom or something like that. But to be honest, without algae, we wouldn't have any oxygen to breathe. Marine algae actually gives us 80% of the oxygen in the atmosphere. So thank you, algae. We love you. So here, fish hide under it. Dragonflies lay their eggs in it. There's all sorts of cool little critters, protozoans that live in the algae, and it's a whole other universe in there. Very cool to look up if you have a chance. Just all sorts of neat stuff, and we have probably 36 species of algae in here. So we're gonna go over here and check out this lotus plant. I think these are really neat. They kind of look like our water lilies, but you'll notice that the leaf is completely round. Our water lilies actually have a split in the leaf. They look kind of like Pac-Man. This is, it's not bloomed yet, but they have a water lily-like bloom. But the cool thing about these is, if you're familiar with the terms endothermic and exothermic, endothermic is like mammals and birds, that we are warmer than our outside surroundings. Exothermic would be most insects and lizards and things like that that have to warm up with the sun to change their temperature. But the flowers of this plant are endothermic like us. They can be up to 90 degrees even in cooler conditions, which is amazing to me. So I'm not exactly sure why, but a close relative of this one, the sacred lotus in Southeast Asia, that has been that's the case, that the flowers are very warm. I'm not sure about this species, our native species, but I intend to find out and have a little temperature gun. So I'm gonna, as soon as this flowers, I'm gonna come out and take the temperature in the morning and see if there's any temperature difference, just because it's cool.
What's the water temperature in here, Karen?
So it's a nice cool 74 degrees today, and this exhibit stays pretty moderate. So even on our coldest days, since this is a 500,000 gallon in total exhibit, it's real hard to change the temperature of that much water in a short time. So it stays it's an even keel kind of temperature. And usually in the summer, it maybe gets into the mid 80s. Oh my gosh, look at all these questions. Joel is asking, how do we keep this wetland maintained and clean? We have an awesome filtration system in here. It's a mechanical filtration, so we have what are called drum filters that take out small particles, and of course a skimmer and what are called static screens to take out the larger particles, branches and leaves and such. Many people may ask, why do we have a filter in a wetland that's supposed to be a functional wetland? We're doing it because we've got some very critically endangered whooping cranes and an eagle that need protection from animals that come in from the wild that may have some pathogens that we don't want our collection animals to have. So we designed the filtration system with the input of the veterinary staff here to make sure that our birds can stay safe. And when it comes to the rest of the filtration, the biological filtration, it's what you see here. All of the plants and the algae are the biological filter of this wetland, which is pretty awesome. So hi to all the kids doing distance learning with us today. I hope you guys are having a great day and enjoying the wetlands. It's such a beautiful day out here. I wish you could be here to join us. So Evie is asking, what kind of birds stop by here? Well, Evie, we have had all sorts of really cool things. We've had a green heron, we've had a cormorant just this morning, of course the black-bellied whistling ducks. We have had snowy egrets and a great egret, black-crowned night herons, yellow-crowned night herons, and then all sorts of other songbirds too that like to come to the water's edge and either hunt or drink. So blue jays and doves and all the birds you typically see around Houston. And we've also had a really cool Carolina wren that was out here singing, along with some cardinals and goldfinches, just all sorts of stuff. So we are, for those of you joining us now, in the Texas Wetlands exhibit, literally in the Texas Wetlands exhibit, wandering around in the water. Around us are the exhibits, which have the bald eagle, whooping cranes, and the American alligator, all of which are telling us really hopeful stories. I would like to mention, with 50 years of Earth Day is basically us reminding ourselves of past mistakes and maybe moving towards a positive resolution for those mistakes. Basically, these animals that we're exhibiting here were once on the brink of extinction. As human beings, we realized what we were doing to cause the extinction or possible extinction of these animals. We corrected it, and now all of these animals are either fully recovered, like the American alligator and the bald eagle, or on the road to recovery, like the whooping crane. So speaking of, Texas Wetlands is a good reminder that over the past couple of 100 years, we've actually filled in and bulldozed over 50% of the wetlands in this country. So I think in the 70s that became illegal because people realized how incredibly important these environments are for so many creatures. So we now are not only protecting the existing wetlands, but making more. So that's exactly what we've done here, is recreate a wetland so that we can give a home to all sorts of critters in the Houston area. And again, with over 150 species seen so far in the first year, I can't wait to see how many more will show up. And we've just given a home to so many things, and that's in the middle of downtown by the medical center. So you can only imagine, you know, you can build a habitat like this anywhere and attract animals anywhere. So Natalia is asking, how do we feed the smaller organisms? That's a great question. We actually don't feed anything in here. So by setting this up with plenty of plants and algae and invertebrates, the fish actually find their own food, and all of the herons and other critters that come here to hunt, actually there's a surplus of fish, so they can hunt and keep the fish population down. So it's just like mirroring what happens in nature. So it's really, really cool. Angela is asking, where are the animals? So Angela, we are very big animals and are scaring away a lot of the smaller animals. So there's actually just so many fish in here, but everywhere we go, they're kind of scattering. But you can see some dragonflies. Dragonflies are pretty bold because they know that they can outfly pretty much anybody. So what we've got here are some of the first dragonflies of the season. As the summer goes on, we get more and more species. I think last year we had 15 species, but right now we have a ton of what are called blue dashers, and they're about the size of a pinky finger. They're blue, and their eyes are real pretty turquoise blue on the males. All dragonflies love to perch. So if you look around the wetlands, you can see branches sticking up everywhere. A lot of these plants obviously are emerging out of the water, and dragonflies like to survey their kingdom, so they like to be on a high point so that they can see other dragonflies, maybe a rival, maybe a mate, or maybe even food. So they like to just kind of hang out on top of stuff. So Harris is asking, can the alligators be with the other animals. In nature, yes, but in the zoo, no. But we can kind of show you where the alligators are. They're actually right in front of us in an exhibit by themselves where they just kind of hang out. So I think that'd be really cool if they were in here, but we didn't design it to contain alligators, so I'm afraid they would get out if we had them in the main wetlands, so we didn't want to take that chance. But the alligators, we've got 3 of them. They're still fairly young, but I believe they're just getting to the size where they can be sexually mature. Their names are Snap, Crackle, and Pop, and they are taken care of by our amazing herpetology department. And speaking of other departments, we have so much collaboration here at the zoo on this exhibit. Again, I'm in the water quality department. We take care of a lot of the larger exhibits, the filtration, the water chemistry, just to make sure that all the water is nice and sanitary for our animals. But the horticulture team and our team join forces to plant all the plants that you see here. And again, our aquarium team quarantined all of our fish that we added. We've got pest control folks that make sure, you know, that we don't have any sort of pests in the area. So far, we haven't needed a whole lot of pest control as far as mosquitoes, because we have natural pest control. We have dragonflies and other predators, bats in the evening. We have predators on land and then also underwater. We have all the larval forms of these predatory insects and the fish. So between all those things, mosquito larvae do not stand a chance here. So Jake is asking, can humans consume algae? Absolutely you can. In fact, you're probably consuming it whether or not you like it. There are algal products in so much of our food. If you've ever had chocolate milk or ice cream, brush your teeth with toothpaste, all of those things usually have some sort of algal product in them. So also, if you can deliberately eat nori, that is, if you eat sushi, the little bands of algae wrapped around your food, that's a red alga. It's really yummy and tasty. Hey, by the way, I just kicked this up. This is called water celery or eelgrass. The Latin name is Vallisneria, and it is kind of buoyant, as are most plants that live in the water. But I'm going to plant this one a little later. But this one, you can imagine, in large quantities, provides like a forest of plant matter for critters to live in. So great shelter. A lot of ducks like to eat this, so it's a really cool plant. Let's see, Taylor is asking, is this freshwater or saltwater? This wetland is freshwater, but there are many coastal wetlands as well, coastal marshes. So there could absolutely be saltwater marshes too, mangrove marshes, all of those are kind of wetlandy areas. So this is an American water lily. They are fragrant. Right now it looks like it has a couple little pollinating flies or gnats on it. These flowers actually attract all sorts of pollinators. In fact, most of the plants we planted in here that flower are very attractive to bees and other things like flies, butterflies, you name it. Very, very cool. This one, remember, like I was saying with the American Lotus, it is kind of there's a cutout of the leaf so you can tell them apart. So we're gonna need to wrap this up right now. I really thank you guys for joining us today. If you have a chance to visit the zoo's website and donate to our zoo's emergency fund so that we can give the animals here the amazing care that we always have. Let's see, what else do we have? Pardon me while I take my glasses off. So look out for our Earth Day challenges today. And what else we have? Tune in tomorrow. We're gonna have even more fun Earth Day activities tomorrow. So thank you guys for joining us from the Texas Wetlands. Really appreciate you joining us, and we'll talk Talk to you later.